I'm Chris from Airwindows, and hey, you probably can't do this. Because that is a recording of a studio-grade drum recording chain. It's just 2 channels, but it is an API preamplifier into a Heritage Audio compressor into a Lavry 8010. And each of those things costs well north of $1,000. Currently, it is all packed away in a mysterious secret location somewhere in Vermont or New Hampshire, because I'm away from home, and you don't leave stuff like that around home. But this is what I use to record, for instance, the drum samples that I'm going to be coming out with. I've just put out a Rickenbacker-based sample library. Well, there's drums coming along as well, a couple of different kinds. One kind is a sort of breakbeat kind of set, which is a simpler drum recording setup that sounds more like this. That is the API into the Lavry without compression. You can hear this is a pretty good sound. In fact, you can compare it with other sounds. Like this is what you would get if you had just a Behringer Euphoria and some microphones. Sounds like a different kit, yeah? You can hear it's the same instruments. We've got toms and things, we've got the cymbals, but this is budget. Even for 2 channels of recording. That is the budget option. And this, same microphones, same drums, but that is API preamplifiers into a Lavry DA10. And that is the difference that you get. See, there's the expensive and fancy studio grade toms compared to, say, budget toms. Here is another option. Here is a Focusrite Scarlett. It's okay. A bit of a price difference. Again, 2 inputs. And back to API into Lavry studio grade. What would you say if I told you that you could have something similar to that, like this? For about $1,000 or so, a little more than $1,000. Oh, hang on. I've got multiple things going at once. See, I had the API and this other thing going at once. So this is like $4,000 to $6,000 for 2 channels. And what would you say if I told you I made a plugin that let you have this? Not quite the same, but 6 channels of it. Welcome to Airwindows Balanced, and this is a Teenage Engineering TX6. That is what you were hearing. The purpose of Airwindows Balanced is to let you run a balanced signal into a jack like this, which is a stereo line input, capture it, and have a reasonably high level signal without running the microphone preamplifier. Now, I'll grant you, the microphone preamplifier is giving you some of that tone, Like when we compare this, those are okay sounding toms. It's okay sounding cymbals, although it's only 48K. And here's the good kind. But this entire chain costs upwards of $4,000, and this costs a little over $1. And if we leave both of them playing at the same time, there we have both of those drum captures playing simultaneously. It sounds kinda similar, even though it's not. Our snares sound fairly similar, kicks sound fairly similar. You could be excused for believing that that was two captures with the same preamplifier setup, but it's not. That is a really good API into stereo Lavry, not even multi-channel. And the other one is this little toy with the Airwindows Balanced, and I'll tell you how I did it. Because the ones I did with this, no preamplifier. Airwindows Balanced takes a stereo input, something that you've recorded in stereo, and takes one of the channels, flips it, inverts it, and then sums them to mono. That's all it does. Oh, but one more thing. We have a preamplifier built into the plugin. And the reason that might be important is that if you're doing this trick, the idea is to not have to pay for a high quality microphone preamp. Again, I can compare something like the high quality version with, say, a somewhat less high quality version, such as this Behringer one that you can get, which does have 48 volt microphone phantom power. Same drums, same mics, maybe not quite the same tone. And for mics, that's only 2 inputs. Or you could have your expensive preamplifier, like the API, go into, for instance, if you need more than 2 inputs, you can't use stereo Lavry, even though that is higher quality. So here's the API into a Motu 16A. That is a 16-channel, high-quality line input. And again, this is not quite as good as that Lavry. The Lavry's better. The Lavry is this. And the Motu is this. And both of these are using the API. So the API into the Motu is going to be more than $3,000, I think. But you'll get to have 4 inputs, because the preamplifier, remember, still only has 4 inputs. The converter has 16, but you'd need 4 preamplifiers to use all of them. And again, 6 inputs like this. These are arguably even closer. Airwindows Balanced is a utility plugin for the purpose of letting you do stuff like this. And it doesn't have to be with the Teenage Engineering. I'm just saying, budget option, believe it or not. I know that sounds kind of insane. All of the conversation around these is how it is a terrible, terrible value for a tiny line mixer. Probably true, because it's this digital mixer. It will let you put compression and things on there. So like you could conceivably even do this. Just a moment. Conceivably, you could do this with this device. Because that is the API into the Heritage Audio compressor into the Lavry. Pretty good, but as long as you're using external phantom power boxes, which you can get, you can power the microphones. The reason that works is if you have loud enough sounds, and beefy commercial grade, the microphones that I'm using are Roswell Audio Mini K47s. Recommend those. If you can make a cable to go from the output of the phantom power box that's powering the microphone into this is not a commercial grade line input. This is a consumer grade line input. It's closer to the output of a loud condenser microphone run directly into it. And that is what you are hearing here. All of these outputs are me playing as loud as I can, but there's no additional preamplifier being used. It's just the microphones into this. And because this is the TXX, it does have compressors built into it, so you could take this, I didn't, but you could take this, take each of those channels and compress it, see what you got. Although I would recommend just capturing the channels directly and not doing a lot of stuff with it, but it does have a full grade of EQs and things that you could use on a stereo channel. Hopefully they're going to be linked, so anything like compression will be happening on both sides matched. But anything that this can do inside itself can also go to your outputs and then be summed using Airwindows Balanced, again, to a single high quality output. But there's more, because if you don't have that very expensive Teenage Engineering mixer, which I am suggesting also counts as a reasonably high quality 6-input preamplifier and analog to digital converter. Technically it's 12 inputs, but we're converting stereo into mono. You can use Airwindows Balanced on anything that you've got where you're able to capture a stereo input. Wire up something where you can take the output of an XLR, either directly from the microphone, or if you're using a condenser microphone, you will presumably have to get one of your condenser microphone battery packs and power it with 48 volts. And you take the output of that and you run it into your consumer grade line level input thing. Once you've done that and you go into Airwindows Balanced, anything that the converter adds, even if that is your laptop, even if that is your laptop's input which has a buzz in it and a certain amount of noise, if you take the outputs of whatever you're capturing with, flip one of the sides and then sum them, any interference and noise that's coming across with the converter will also be canceled out. And the noise will be taken down 6 dB. Just like that. That's how balanced stuff works. And you can use a stereo input, such as, I don't know, some old garbage laptop, which has a line level plug that you can plug into and so on. You can use that. My hope is that Airwindows Balanced lets people who don't have access to as much be able to do decent quality audio captures by wiring up a patch cord that does this. You can take, I don't think I have any good examples, but I've done things like wire together the microphone element from a Royer sort of consumer grade shotgun mic into this, which is a headphone thing where you have the additional microphone, and have that set up. Excuse the cat, I can't do anything about it. As long as you can make the correct cable, one that has this size of an input, assuming that you're capturing on an 1/8 inch input, and XLR on the other end with the two hot things going to left and to right, you can use this. Hopefully that will come in handy. One more little observation. I've been talking about the price of this, I've been talking about the sound, I've been demonstrating the sound, and I have been explaining that if you did happen to get the Teenage Engineering, which maybe it's very overpriced as a line mixer, I showed you what this can do, and if you have enough of those extra phantom power things, this is 6 reasonably good inputs that can take microphones with loud things on them. And there is also the BitShiftGain built into Balanced, so you can boost this up if the sound that you're running into it without a mic pre is simply too quiet. 6 of these for a little over $1,000 makes this a budget option, believe it or not. I've been talking about that, but then this is the budget option. Put that in your pocket, put your mics in a backpack or something like that, and the little phantom power things in your cables, and the portability comes into play. And that is not necessarily the case with the studio grade high quality option. So Airwindows Balanced can also help you do stuff where you're taking things on the road and need to do some audio captures of good quality. Because again, if you're taking stereo inputs and running a balanced audio into these, even the stereo inputs that you've got, you're going to take 6 dB off the noise floor. You're going to have 6 dB more headroom. And any sound that is common to both of the inputs, even if it is part of the converter itself, will be canceled out and will go away. If your interface hums and your mic does not, and the interface hums equally on both channels, Airwindows Balanced will make that go away. I don't know how many people are going to be able to use this, but I hope somebody gets some good mileage out of this little sucker, because it is a utility plugin I haven't seen anywhere else. And my hope is that makes it possible for people to do stuff that they would not otherwise have been able to do. Oh, one more thing. If this seems interesting to you, ask me. Maybe I can put together a little video which just plays all of these examples so that you could hear on YouTube all of the different combinations of converters and mic pre's and things. And that way, if you do want to put together a studio-ready setup, you'll have a little idea of what's possible and what you'll be getting. Looks like I have API pre, Lavry 8010. The Heritage audio compressor is only in place on the one example, so that doesn't count. I've got the TX6, of course, Motu 16A, Motu M4, Focusrite Scarlett, and the Behringer Euphoria. So if you'd like a extensive listening session and hearing the sound of all of these different interfaces on the same drum kit, same mics, everything just the way it was and not moved or anything like that, it might be interesting. Let me know if you'd like that. And thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.